Hello everyone, welcome again in our online session. In this session, we are going to study about different types of chemical reactions of haloalkanes and haloarenes. We are going to study chemical properties and some of the important reactions of haloalkanes like nucleophilic substitution reaction. They are also known as SN reactions, right? In that they are having two types, one is SN1 and second is SN2 reaction. Same way, some of the reactions like elimination reaction and reaction with metals we are going to study in this session, right? So we'll study the chemical reactions of haloalkanes. There are three major types of reactions in haloalkanes. First is nuclear substitution, that is nucleophilic substitution reaction. They are known as SN reaction or NS reaction in short. Second is elimination reaction, right? It is also mentioned as E reaction, elimination. And third is reaction with metals, that is reaction of haloalkane with metals like magnesium. We'll study in this session, right? So first one, it is nucleophilic substitution reaction. We know that what is nucleophile, right? Nucleophile which can be either negatively charged or which is having either lone pair of electrons, they are known as nucleophiles. So they are substituting this halogen atom in haloalkane, so it is named as nucleophilic substitution reaction, or you can also name it as substitution by nucleophile, right? So this nucleophile will displace this halogen or substitutes this halogen, and it will bind with the carbon atom, right? And it will displace this halogen atom, and this reaction is due to, as we know, we have studied in nature of CX bond, that carbon is partially positively charged and halogen is partially negatively charged. So the bond is polar in nature, and this nucleophile which is negatively charged can easily attract with this positively charged carbon atom and can displace this halogen. And this nucleophile can be any functional group, either which it is having lone pairs, or even it might be negatively charged ion like Cl minus, Br minus, or even like OH minus hydroxyl group, NH2 negative, right, amine group. Any of this negatively charged nucleophile can substitute this halogen, so it is named as SN reaction. Another type is elimination reaction. In this, we are removing the halogen atom from the haloalkane, and we are removing adjacent hydrogen along with the halogen. It is also named as beta elimination. We'll study in this session, right? The hydrogen and halogen both are substituted in presence of base, and it will produce pi bond or double bond between carbon atom, that is named as elimination, right? So from the first carbon, that is alpha carbon, halogen is removed, and from the nearby carbon, that is beta carbon, hydrogen is removed, so it is also named as beta elimination, right? And it will produce this BH as a byproduct, and this halogen is removed as halide ion X negative, and there is formation of double bond between these two carbon. So that's why it is mentioned as elimination reaction, that is removal of beta hydrogen and removal of halogen from alpha carbon, right? And this reaction must be carried out in presence of base, and it must be dissolved in ethanolic solution or alcoholic solution. Likewise, you can use potassium hydroxide KOH dissolved in alcoholic solution will undergo beta elimination reaction, right? That we'll also study in detail in next session. And third type of reaction is reaction with metals. As I mentioned previously, metal like magnesium can easily react with haloalkane. Here it is taken bromoethane. This magnesium is dissolved in dry ether, right, non-aqueous solvent, and it will get attached between this carbon and bromine atom. You can see magnesium is bonded between these two bromine and carbon atom, and it produces Grignard reagent, right? Here the compound is ethyl magnesium bromide. It is known as ethyl magnesium bromide. It is one of the important Grignard reagent, right? They are also named as organometallic compound, as there is a linkage between carbon and metal, so they are named as organometallic compound. That we'll study in detail in next session, right? So next is nucleophilic substitution reaction, that we'll see in complete detail. Some of the important reaction, nucleophilic substitution reaction. As we have seen previously, that nucleophile will try to displace this halogen, and as there is a polarity between this carbon and halogen, there is partial charges. Carbon is positively charged and halogen is negatively charged, so the bond is already polar in nature. So this nucleophile, which is negatively charged or it is having lone pairs, can easily bind with this carbon atom and can displace this halogen atom, right? So it is simple substitution with the help of nucleophile, so it is known as nucleophilic substitution reaction, right? Or you can also name it as SN reaction or NS reaction, right? Here you can see different types of nucleophilic substitution reactions are mentioned here. All these nucleophiles like OH minus, water molecule, alkoxide ion, iodine, cyanide, right, carboxylate ion, thioether group, right, thiol group, amines, all these are nucleophiles, and they are trying to displace this, substitute these halogen atoms. The X is removed, right, and these nucleophiles are inserted in this R functional group. So all these are nucleophilic substitution reaction. You can see this OH minus reacts with alkyl halide. This OH is nucleophile, will substitute this halogen, right, and produces the product is alcohol. Same way, water, which works like neutral nucleophile, will substitute this halogen to produce alcohol. Similarly, another reaction is Wurtz reaction. Sodium, right, will react with halogen to produce NaX, and these two moles of R functional groups will combine to produce hydrocarbon, that is alkane, and we know this reaction is known as Wurtz reaction. Same way, this alkoxide ion, which is nucleophile, will displace this halogen to produce ROR, that is ether, and this reaction is also named as Williamson's synthesis. It's one of the important reaction. So all this, similarly you can see all these nucleophiles are displacing this halogen atoms, and respective products we are getting like alkyne, alkyl iodide, nitrile or cyanide compounds, esters, thioether, thiols, tertiary amines, primary amines, secondary amines, even alkyl benzenes. So all these reactions are mentioned here. They all belong to nucleophilic substitution reactions. You can remember these examples, right? Some of the examples of nucleophiles are mentioned here. How they are effective in this reaction. Either they are good in SN reaction, or they are moderate in SN reaction, or either they are poor in this nucleophilic substitution reaction. You can see here bromine negative, bromide, iodide, right, sulfide, alkyl sulfide, hydroxide, methoxide or alkoxide. They are very good in this SN reaction, while some of the other are moderate. You can see carboxylate, right, acetate ion, carboxylate, right, thiol functional group, right, dialkyl sulfide, ammonia, amines, primary amines, secondary amine, tertiary amines. They are moderate in this reaction. And last are poor, means the rate of reaction is slower with these nucleophiles like water, alcohol, and carboxylic acids. They are poor in reactivity in this SN reaction, right? And even we also know that cyanide has a dual property. It can act as a ambidentate nucleophile or amphidentate nucleophile, which means that this carbon can be either negatively charged when it is generated from compounds like sodium cyanide, potassium cyanide, and even sometimes this nitrogen can be negatively charged when it is released from the compound like silver cyanide. So during this, so it can bind from both the sides, either from carbon, either from nitrogen. So it can link from both the sides. If it is linked from carbon, it would be simply cyanide group, and if it is from nitrogen, it would be isocyanide, right? So it can work in these two different ways, which is mentioned here. Now next is important part. We'll see two different types of mechanisms. In this session, we'll only include up to SN2 mechanism, right? So as you can see, there are two types of nucleophilic substitution reaction or substitution nucleophilic. One is bimolecular, that is named as SN2 reaction, and another is unimolecular, that is known as SN1 reaction. Here either simply you can say SN2 and SN1. SN2 is bimolecular and SN1 is unimolecular. So we'll study here SN2 in detail in this session. So we'll see SN2 reaction. It is bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. Here there is one example given over here. There is a reaction between chloromethane, that is CH3Cl, and it is reacted with hydroxide ion, that is OH minus. You can see this OH minus is hydroxide. This works like nucleophile, which is negative, and this compound over here, it is CH3Cl, chloromethane. You can see three hydrogens and one chlorine atom. In center there is carbon atom, right? It is chloromethane. So now this OH will get attracted towards the central carbon, as we know that carbon is partially positive and halogen is negative. So this negatively charged nucleophile will attach on this positively charged carbon atom, and there is formation of one of the intermediate. You can see here OH binds with central carbon and this chlorine moves away from the center, right? And in later on this chlorine gets removed, right, from this carbon atom, it gets detached from the carbon, and OH gets permanently attached on this central carbon atom. It is also represented over here, right? This is hydroxyl group, oxygen is negative, and here this one it is hydrogen, it is OH minus negative. You can see central, this is carbon atom, these three are hydrogens, right? You can resemble here, and this larger green one sphere, that is chlorine, right? And here partially the OH, this oxygen which is negative binds with the central carbon, and this chlorine sphere, it moves away from the plane, and later on this Cl minus, as we have seen, gets detached from the carbon atom. It gets removed from the carbon, and OH now permanently it forms sigma bond with central carbon. So it is simple substitution mechanism. Now how it is SN2, why it is known as bimolecular, we'll see that, and what is the mechanism in this reaction. It is mentioned over here that the rate of chemical reaction means the reaction what we have done over here, and that is substitution of chlorine by hydroxyl group or hydroxide ion, so that the rate of reaction between this chloromethane and hydroxide ion to yield methanol, means to produce this compound, that is CH3OH, ultimately this is methanol, and chloride ion, that is byproduct, depends upon the concentration of both the reactants. Means here the rate of this forward reaction depends on both this OH minus as well as this chloromethane. So that's the reason it is named as bimolecular reaction. Bimolecular means it depends on both of this starting material, so it is bimolecular, and that's why it is also mentioned here, that is SN2 reaction, right? So that is the reason why it is named as SN2. It depends on both of the reagents, and similarly you can also say why other reaction is SN1, because that would depend only on one of the reagents, so it is SN1, right? Here it is shown with mechanism. You can see this hydroxyl group is negatively charged, which gets attracted towards central carbon, right? Here the example is taken of chloro, it is bromo, it is bromomethane. So these electrons are attracted towards this central carbon, and the bonded electrons are partially diverted towards bromine, right? The bonded sigma bond electrons are going towards bromine, and here there is one temporary phase, it is known as transition phase, or you can say transition step. And here simultaneously you can see the OH is binding and this bromine is getting removing from this carbon, so it is known as transition phase, right? In which simultaneous there is bond breaking and bond forming in between the two states, and later on you can see that the hydroxyl group is now permanently bonded on this carbon, and bromine is released from the carbon atom, that is our product, that is methanol. So here it is written both reactants are involved in the creation of the rate determining step. So both these reactants produces this central intermediate, right? So it is named as SN2 reaction, or you can say bimolecular reaction. And here this nucleophile attacks the reactive center in central carbon, right, from the side opposite to the leaving group, means opposite to the leaving group means this OH binds from the opposite side of the bromine. Bromine is leaving group which is getting removed from this compound, so it is named as leaving group, and this hydroxyl group binds from the opposite direction, and this is the key step of the nucleophile and an electrophile to form a new covalent bond means after this transition phase is generated, new covalent bond would be produced, right? And you can also see here during this reaction what is happening. See these three hydrogens here, they are present in left hand side, means they are opposite to this chlorine, and during the reaction with this hydroxyl group or hydroxide ion there is transition phase. Temporarily you can see there is rearrangement of these hydrogens, and at last when this chlorine is getting removed from this carbon atom, now these hydrogens you can see they are present on right hand side. In the first step during the reaction they are on left hand side, while after the reaction they are present on right hand side. That is mentioned as Walden's inversion. Inversion means you can see the hydrogens are inverted towards right hand side. Previously they were on left hand side. It is mentioned here. It depicts bimolecular nucleophilic displacement or SN2 reaction, and the incoming nucleophile interacts with the alkyl halide, means this one nucleophile reacts with alkyl halide causing carbon halide bond to break, means this carbon halogen carbon chlorine bond is broken down, and there is formation of new bond between carbon and OH, means now there is permanent formation of new bond between this carbon and OH. And this inversion of this geometrical position of hydrogens or these groups, it is mentioned as Walden's inversion, right? Here it is shown one of the conceptual analogy that how the force of the wind will invert the umbrella. You can see the spikes of the umbrella are going away in the opposite direction. So that is inversion of an umbrella due to the presence of wind, or force of the wind will inverse this umbrella. It is similar what I have seen here, that is Walden's inversion. You can see these three hydrogens are moving away outside the plane. They are going on right hand side. So that concept is compared with inversion of an umbrella. When there is wind force coming inside the umbrella will invert the image, right? Which is also compared here. You can see originally this compound is S configuration. We know what is R, what is S configuration, right? S means sinister, R means rectus. They both are isomers. You can see here this methyl hydrogen and ethyl group is present on left hand side. When this OH is attacking on this carbon atom, right, and bromine is getting removed from this carbon, Br minus is removed from the carbon, and this OH is permanently bonded on this carbon, and it is producing the product which is opposite to the original product. You can say either it is changing its configuration or changing its original isomer, right? Similarly it is depicted here, the umbrella is inverted when there is a force of the wind, right? That is mentioned as Walden's inversion, right? It is called as Walden's inversion or inversion of geometrical configuration, or you can say change in the type of isomerism. All are similar. So next is one of the important animation type of reaction for SN2 is shown here. You can see there is chlorine atom, there is R group, there is hydrogen, and there is methyl group, and now there is incoming of nucleophile, that is Br minus. It is attacking on this carbon atom, right? As carbon is positively charged, the bromine goes nearer to the carbon, and you can see the slightly the energy also gets increases. You can see here the energy, it is increasing slightly over here, right? And later on as it binds. Now there is a transition phase. You can see there is rearrangement over here. The chlorine moves more away, right? And this other functional groups are getting rearranged, and the energy it is at its maximum point over here. And later on, further when you are performing the reaction, the energy goes down and you can see the chlorine is removed and the geometry is inverted, is known as Walden's inversion, right? Again I am repeating, you can see the bromine binds with the carbon and chlorine gets removed from the compound, and again the energy is, again you can see it is decreasing. First it is increasing up to maximum value in transition phase, and later on the energy is decreasing when the product is generated. So from this animation you can easily understand how this SN2 mechanism is happening, how this Walden's inversion is happening, right? It is more easier. Here it is mentioned that most of the alkyl halides they rapidly undergo SN2 mechanism as the functional groups are smaller. Only 3 hydrogen are present in methyl halides at CH3X, that is methyl halides. This methyl group CH3 and single halogen they easily undergo SN2 mechanism, and as you can see as we are going on from methyl to ethyl, right, now there is one more CH3 group, CH3 CH2, it is ethyl. Same way here it is isopropyl, two methyl groups, it is secondary, and it is tertiary butyl, tertiary. So as we are going from primary to secondary to tertiary, you can see there is increase in the size of the functional groups, means there is increasing in crowding effect, or you can say the steric hindrance is increasing. So the rate of reaction gets decreases towards tertiary. Most reactive is primary, that is methyl, ethyl, propyl, butyl, either simply alkyl group which are primary. They are most reactive primary halides. Later on, secondary it is slightly decreases in secondary, and in tertiary halide again it is more decreasing. So you can see SN2 is faster with primary but slower towards tertiary, and that is due to hindrance or crowding effects of these functional groups which are present around the central carbons. So ultimately this nucleophile is trying to bind with this central carbon and it is displacing this halogen. So you can see here it is difficult to displace halogen because there is a hindrance of this larger group. Same way here there are two alkyl groups, so it is more hindrance to bind with this central carbon and remove this halogen. And similarly in this tertiary compound there are three alkyl groups. They are creating more hindrance, or they are not allowing this nucleophile to bind with the carbon. So the rate of reaction is very much slowest towards tertiary. So here it is mentioned that tertiary halides are least reactive because the bulkier or larger functional groups hinders the approaching nucleophiles, right? So it is slower towards tertiary. You can remember this. Some of the most important points are mentioned in relation to SN2 reaction. First point is the reactivities of SN2 reaction with alkyl halides is governed by steric factor, that what we have seen right now, the steric hindrance, bulkier the group, larger the functional group, less it would be reactive with SN2 mechanism, right? If there is a larger functional group, just now we have seen that it increases the hindrance for binding nucleophile with carbon atom. So the rate of reaction would be slower with bulkier groups. It would be less reactive. Same way, this reaction of SN2 is more faster with methyl halide, similar to primary halides. But as we are going towards secondary and tertiary, the rate of reaction is slower, right? It gets decreases from primary to secondary to tertiary, and opposite here it is more faster towards primary and methyl halides. Same way, among primary halides, methyl is more faster reactive, and as you are increasing the carbon chain, ethyl, propyl, butyl, and so on, the rate of reactivity is decreasing, right? And similarly, we have seen that in the case of alkyl halide, there is optical activity. The reaction can be SN2 and produces Walden's inversion, that is inversion of the geometrical configuration is named as Walden's inversion, which is taking place in this SN2 reaction. And similarly, you can mention in short that tertiary they react by SN1 mechanism, right? Primary by SN2 mechanism, and secondary can be either by both, either it undergo SN1 or either SN2. That depends on type of alkyl halide as well as on the basis of nature of reagents, solvents which are selected during the reaction. So here it is mentioning that the last point that as we are going towards tertiary, the SN2 is decreasing, but towards tertiary SN1 reaction is increasing. As we are going right hand side, again I am repeating, SN2 is decreasing, but SN1 is increasing towards tertiary. And as we are going towards primary, SN2 reaction is increasing and SN1 is decreasing. It is equal and opposite. So primary selectively undergoes SN2 while tertiary selectively undergoes SN1, and secondary can either go both SN1 as well as SN2. Secondary can undergo both SN1 as well as SN2, and that depends on type of reagents like polar solvents, protic solvents, acidic solvents, basic, non-polar. It depends on type of reagents as well as temperature conditions which are taken during this chemical reaction. These are some of the important points. Again, some more points are included here. You can see some more points are added here. The rate of reactivity for both SN1 and SN2 is more faster with alkyl iodide. With iodine, the rate of reaction is faster. And as we are going towards bromine, chlorine, and fluorine, that is least reactive towards alkyl fluoride and highest reactive towards alkyl iodide, that is overall rate of reaction. And similarly, as we have seen substitution, this also applies to elimination reaction, that is dehydrohalogenation. We know that dehydrohalogenation, removal of hydrogen as well as halogen from alkyl halide. It again follows similar pattern. Here they are known as E1 and E2 mechanism, that is elimination 1 and elimination 2, that we'll discuss in our next session. E1 E2 reaction, and even it is analogous to SN1 and SN2. Same way the elimination is more faster with tertiary, and it is going on decreasing towards primary halide, right? Again it is important part. Same way tertiary halides they tend to undergo elimination, means that tertiary alkyl halides they more rapidly undergo dehydrohalogenation or they easily undergo elimination reaction, right? Tertiary they are more reactive towards elimination reaction or beta elimination reaction, while primary alkyl halides, they are more reactive by substitution reaction, that is SN1 reaction or SN2 reaction, while secondary reaction, secondary alkyl halides, they can undergo any of the reaction, either elimination as well as substitution. They can undergo either of the type of the reaction, right? So these are some of the important points mentioned here. Next is types of solvents or some of the aprotic solvents. Aprotic means which does not contain any hydroxyl group, or they do not release proton, that do not liberate H plus, so they are known as aprotic solvents, right? So when you are selecting such type of aprotic non-polar organic solvent, and they are mostly non-aqueous in nature, they are oily organic non-polar solvents. So as you are selecting such type of solvents, it will selectively undergo SN2 reaction, right? Nucleophilic substitution 2, that is bimolecular reaction, is selective with aprotic solvents. Some of the examples are given here. DMSO, it is dimethyl sulfoxide, dimethyl sulfur oxide, it is sulfoxide. Another is common acetone, right? Dichloromethane, CH2Cl2, and dimethyl ether. These are aprotic solvent. As you are selecting such type of solvents, the mechanism would be selective with SN2 reaction, right? And also it is mentioned it is more difficult to form carbocations in aprotic solvent. It is mentioning that if carbon cations are not produced, then the reaction would be SN2 reaction, SN2 mechanism, and if there is formation of carbocation, then reaction mechanism is SN1. So the criteria is to not to produce carbocation during this SN reaction, right? If carbocations are not produced, means you have seen that there is a transition phase over here, and during this transition phase, if the central carbon is not producing cation, you can see there is no change in the polarity of carbon, it remains as it is. So the mechanism would be SN2 reaction, right? So it is shown that it is difficult to produce carbocation in aprotic solvent. So as cations are not produced in these type of solvents, the reaction would be SN2 mechanism. And opposite it that, if you are using protic solvents, then the reaction would be SN1 mechanism, right? Right, so in this session we have discussed in detail about SN2 mechanism, right? That is bimolecular reaction, nucleophilic substitution 2 reaction. In next session we are going to study about SN1 mechanism, right? So now we'll end our this online session, right? So thank you all of you for joining this online session, right? Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.